Welcome to the show, everybody. It is 2024, and this is Cinema's Last Stand. I'm Cam, joined as always by my lovely co-host, Jayla.
Hello.
Hello, indeed. Today we are here to talk about Argylle, the hottest new movie from director Matthew Vaughn. And other than that, we are going to talk about a couple other Matthew Vaughn movies that we liked maybe a little bit more than this. Let's talk about Matthew Vaughn.
Let's talk about Matthew Vaughn. He has a special place in my heart.
He's a British director.
We don't have to talk about how he's British.
He used to collaborate with he is Matthew Vaughn. He started out as a producer.
Yeah.
He produced films that Guy Ritchie directed.
That makes a lot of sense.
Lock, Stock, and Two Smoking Barrels and Snatch were both produced by Matthew Vaughn. They have since parted ways, but they sort of got their start together. Matthew Vaughn's directorial debut was a movie with Daniel Craig called Layer Cake, which is credited as the reason that he got the role of James Bond.
Really? I haven't seen it.
Yes, I haven't seen it either.
Oh.
I just found that out on the interwebs today, doing my research.
The internet's a magical place.
But he has a special place in your heart. What do you love about Matthew Vaughn?
I remember the day I saw Kingsman. And as soon as I got out of this movie, by the way, I downplayed it. I thought the trailer looked ridiculous. I thought it was going to be dumb. Marcus, who's my godfather, he was like, no, it's going to be great. I'm like, okay. So we went to go see it. I was like a seventh wheel. It was Valentine's Day. And I watched it, and it just, a switch flipped in my head. And I got out of the theater, and I immediately called Marcus, and I was like losing my mind. Like, this movie was like just one of the movies that like reassured me that I love movies, that I'm passionate about them, that kind of reminded me why that's just a really important viewing experience for me. So I've always held Kingsman close to my heart.
Mm-hmm.
It's a great time. It's so much fun. I think it's such a great love letter to spy films while also poking fun at them. But the thing is, it has balance to it, and it still is its own thing.
Yeah, and we'll definitely talk about that. I think first we'll talk about X-Men First Class.
Absolutely.
Which we just rewatched last week. And before we rewatched it, I think I would have said it's the best X-Men movie. I'm not sure. What do you think?
Oh, shoot. I gotta say, I really like Days of Future Past.
Not having seen them all since like 2016 maybe, I'm not sure, but I think Days of Future Past is also probably the best one.
I have to rewatch it, but what I admire about First Class is after, what was it, X-Men 3, what was the subtitle for that?
The Last Stand.
The Last Stand. People were done. They were done with X-Men. I think X-Men First Class breathed new life into the franchise. I really liked what he did as far as setting the stage with Magneto and Professor X's relationship and their dynamic and how they work and why they are the way they are. Because throughout time, they still hold a lot of respect for each other. They still kind of see each other as friends, but their morals are just different at the end of the day.
I think it's interesting because it was supposed to be a reboot. It was intended as a reboot, and I only just found this out, but Days of Future Past actually retconned it into being a prequel. I just always thought it was a prequel.
Days of Future Past was hype. Let me tell you, that ending sequence, pure hype for me. I loved it. I was so excited. Days of Future Past is a really great story in the comics as well, so it was really cool seeing that on the big screen. But he did a great job. He did a great job with the origin of the X-Men. It felt nice. He had his montage in it. Matthew Vaughn, I've learned real quickly, love his stylish montages. That's something that has been in like every single movie that we've watched of his recently.
Yeah.
Did Kick-Ass have a montage?
I don't remember. X-Men First Class is like the ultimate prequel because it sets up everything. It sets up their superhero names, the castle, the rivalry between Xavier and Eric, the paralysis, you know, why Charles is in a wheelchair. They do that. They set up the name X-Men. They set up Magneto's helmet and his cape. They just literally set everything iconic up in the span of like a week that this movie takes place.
It's thanks to Kevin Bacon. Kevin Bacon is why Magneto has his helmet.
Yeah, it's just like he just passed it off to him.
Well, I mean, he kind of killed him for it.
For sure.
How do you feel about Magneto being the reason Charles is paralyzed?
I don't really see what it adds to their dynamic because as far as I know, it's not something that's ever mentioned later. It's just a thing that happens. It's like in Kenobi where we find out, oh, Obi-Wan had 2 more duels with Anakin between episodes 3 and 4, and that gash in his head, that's actually from Obi-Wan too. It's like, okay, well, what does that add to the story?
I have something for you that I just now came up with.
Okay.
So a big part of Charles kind of like guiding Eric through his powers is like, it's in the middle of serenity and rage.
You know, I believe that true focus lies somewhere between rage and serenity.
He got paralyzed because of his rage.
That is definitely something they said in the movie, that serenity and rage thing.
It's a full circle. Please cut that point. That's stupid.
No, I'm leaving that.
I feel like Matthew Vaughn, one of his strengths is an action sequence. I think the man knows how to make an action sequence really pop. There really isn't a big one in this. Like a big singular, maybe with Angel? Not Angel. Angel?
Zoe Kravitz?
No.
Isn't Zoe Kravitz Angel?
Nightcrawler's father. The red guy.
Oh, I forgot his name too, yeah. Angel's man.
Sure.
Demon guy.
Demon guy.
Mephisto.
Jesus. How did he end up having a blue kid?
Oh.
What if I'm completely wrong and it's just not his dad? It has to be, though, right?
Isn't it funny how Beast became blue because of Mystique?
I was gonna make a point about that. He's such a baby. He's like, oh, I have weird feet. Oh.
I'm such a freak. And all these characters are acting like they're all the same because they're all different, but they're all so different from each other. And they act like being mutants is being like one thing. Whereas Professor X, there is nothing about him that is like freaky. He can read your mind and talk to you, but you'd never see it. He's just a handsome guy, and like he's got the moves. He's putting the moves on the ladies at the bar.
Riz.
Yeah, he's rizzed up.
And you have Magneto. You have Eric, who's like, he moves metal.
Yeah.
How does his flying? How does that work? How can he? What? How? Why does he fly?
He like moves magnetic fields, or like if he can pull on a metal object, then he can push on it too. So he can push off of like any metal in the area. I think. I guess that's how that would work.
I'm gonna buy that. That makes perfect sense.
Yeah. Do you think it was super anti-Semitic for them to turn this Holocaust survivor into an evil supervillain?
I think it's pretty valid of him. Not gonna lie.
Of him, not of the choice to turn off.
No, I mean...
You think he was valid?
Well, yeah. He's like, listen, I've been here before. Not doing it again.
Fair enough.
He's not, like...
That was just a joke, by the way. Just for the record. Just a stupid joke.
We're just riffing.
We're doing a bit.
We're doing a bit. Who's hotter? Magneto or Professor X?
Oh. Ooh. I'm going to have to say Fassbender on this one.
Ooh.
I think you would definitely say McAvoy. You like the nerdy types. Yeah.
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 What can I say?
She wet her pants when she saw me in my new glasses.
Shut up!
Once more in an X-Men movie, they couldn't fully commit to the yellow suits.
It was close enough for me to be happy.
Yeah, they once again did like the, okay, we'll try and make it look like the classic suit, but cool.
We're cool, X-Men.
Yeah, but they couldn't commit.
Do you think Kevin Bacon's a memorable villain?
Yes, I think he was actually one of the decent Marvel villains of its time. I have a note written here. It says Kevin Bacon looks younger, not older. When it jumps ahead 20 years And then like one scene later, he explains, "Oh, I stay looking young by absorbing energy." But I noticed, I was like, he looks younger. Why does he look younger? It's the 60s now. But then they explained it. Overall, it's a fun movie. It's from a more pure time of Marvel cinema. Looking back at it, I think it has a lot of the comic book movie formula, but it's back when that was still interesting. I still keep up with the MCU, of course. I watch everything, but a lot of the magic has definitely been lost with a few exceptions. But I think looking back at this time, I think I saw this movie in the theater. I think it's one of the only X-Men movies I actually saw in the theater.
I remember seeing Apocalypse in the theater.
Yeah, that was the other one I saw in the theater. And
I'm so sorry.
Yikes. And of course I saw the Deadpool movies, but I don't know, it was just a different time. And this movie was fun. It was good.
It holds up, especially for an X-Men entry, because you have your X-Men of the 2000s. That's a very 2000 superhero movie. You have the leather. You have the cheese. It's so...
They're good.
Yeah.
They're so good.
Yeah, I know, right?
It was truly a different time.
Yeah, this is an X-Men movie of the next era. The next saga of superhero film.
Yeah, I would say after Days of Future Past is where it gets dicey, because Apocalypse, Dark Phoenix, New Mutants, it starts getting to be a dumpster fire.
Just no more Dark Phoenix.
Yeah, don't do
Stop.
just don't even put Jean Grey in the movie. Like,
Stop.
just don't. But let's move on to Matthew Vaughn's finest film, Kingsman 1: The Secret Service.
Wow, what a movie.
Based on a comic book by Mark Miller.
Correct.
Which was created by Miller and Matthew Vaughn. It's not just an adaptation that Matthew Vaughn made. It is something that he created.
And it's owned by Marvel, the comic.
Yes.
Technically a Marvel movie.
Sort of. It's I guess it would be like DC Vertigo, basically, like Watchmen and V for Vendetta being DC adjacent.
Yeah.
But ultimately it is part of the Miller world,
Yes.
which is its own thing, which includes Kick-Ass,
Yes.
which is also created by Mark Miller and directed by Matthew Vaughn. Do you want to go on about Kingsman 1, your fave movie?
Oh my goodness. I love this movie. There was a month in high school where I would come home from school and I would watch Kingsman. Every day I went to school.
That sounds like depression.
I don't know. I was having a great time.
When I was pretty young, I think I experienced my first bout with depression this one like Christmas break where I was watching Over the Hedge twice a day.
Oh, buddy.
I was like, it's my favorite movie, but I just kept watching it. It was like nothing else would make me happy. And then of course the returns were diminishing. I think that was my first experience with depression. I haven't watched it since.
I was obsessed with Kingsman.
I watched it like 10 times.
That's the most I've heard you watch a movie.
I watched Kingsman 1 in 2017, I think, whenever the second one came out. I watched it like the same day I went and saw the second one. And I remember enjoying it very thoroughly. It's really fresh, and the action sequences, you can actually see what's going on. That's something Matthew Vaughn is very specific about, is the way he shoots the action. You're able to see what's happening, who's doing what, and why. It's all very clear. It's not blurry, just a weird haberdash of random punches. It is choreographed and photographed well.
That was a big deal, especially at the time. At the time, there was a lot of quick cut action movies. There was a lot of shaky cam and action movies. And that was a huge issue. That was another reason why Kingsman was so refreshing for me, was because you could see the action. There was so much time and care put into it. It felt like a big spy movie of the olden days before Austin Powers ruined it.
Austin Powers didn't ruin it. Austin Powers was also a loving homage.
Let me correct myself. Austin Powers is why the Bond films took themselves seriously.
Oh, they pivoted to like the Daniel Craig stuff because of Austin Powers?
Yes.
That makes sense, I guess.
So like to kind of revive that while also doing your own thing was amazing to me. Because I love a spy movie. I love a good spy movie.
Me too.
I have such a huge soft spot, and I feel we don't get that much anymore. So when Kingsman came around, I was all in.
Yeah.
10 toes down, as my dad would say. Because, you have the Manners Maketh Men scene. You have the iconic church scene. Freebird.
You got the reverse car chase.
Yeah.
You got Eggsy doing some parkour. I mean, you've got all these different action scenes of various types, and they're all really fun and fresh. And it's not that they're reinventing the wheel or anything. It's just that they're like bringing the wheel back.
Yeah. They're
rolling it back and making it look nice and slick. And it's really funny.
And it is. And I think one of my favorite parts is there's a touch of a different charm to it. I feel like Matthew Vaughn and Mark Miller added their own charm to the movie to make it stand out.
Yeah, because it's got a mix of old and new. I mean, you've got all these classic gentlemen, with their tailor shops and stuff. And you got Eggsy, who's dressed just like a proper douchebag, really. But it's so 2014. But he kind of refines his image a bit and becomes more of a gentleman by the end of it. And he looks slick as hell.
Yeah.
By the end of it.
Bagged himself a princess.
Oh, bagged her all right.
Jesus.
Got a little cameo from Mark Hamill.
Yeah.
Which is where we find out that his Joker voice is actually just his British voice.
He is very Joker in this.
Yeah, absolutely. And then you've got Sam Jackson with the lisp.
Yeah, I feel like I could be wrong, but I feel like I remember an interview where he said that he had a lisp when he was younger, and that's why he made a villain that has a lisp that isn't a joke. That's just like part of his character.
I felt like it was a joke. I mean, it made me laugh every time he spoke.
Sam's gonna get you.
He didn't think it was funny?
I'm sure he did.
Was I not supposed to laugh?
No, you're supposed to laugh.
Okay.
I feel like it's not like they're making fun of him for it. He just plays a character funny. Does that make sense?
Yeah. What'd you think about the Kingsman wanting you to shoot a dog, and if you don't do it, you fail?
Well, I think it was bullshit, really.
Yeah. It's messed up because they give you this dog to be basically your partner.
To raise.
Yeah, it's someone you're supposed to be taking care of, and then they tell you to kill it. And Eggsy's like, I'm not going to shoot the dog. That's crazy. And they're like, you failed. It's like, no, he passed the test because he is looking out for his fellow man.
It's loyalty.
Absolutely. He absolutely passed the test.
Would you want someone on your team that would shoot their dog point blank?
No.
Exactly.
Blind loyalty for what? No.
Exactly.
Absolutely not. So we get to the end of the movie. Colin Firth is gone. Eggsy is baconly. Eggsy has basically taken his place, and there's a little callback to the Manners Maketh Man thing, and it seems like it is setting up a big franchise. It seems like Iron Man 1, but then the sequel is Thor: The Dark World, and then the prequel is Black Panther: Wakanda Forever because it was just sad.
I don't think the sequel is that bad.
Exactly. I don't think Thor: The Dark World is that bad, but it's just underwhelming in comparison.
I'll give you that.
Okay, maybe it's just Iron Man 2. People don't like Iron Man. I think I'm in the minority on Iron Man 2. I love Iron Man 2.
I'll give you that, actually.
But it just seems like it's setting up this big world, and they haven't quite made good on it because Kingsman 2... I haven't rewatched it since 2017 or whenever it came out.
Okay.
But I don't remember it very well other than Julianne Moore grinding people up and turning them into hamburgers.
Yeah, there was like drugs involved. She was gonna like lace all the drugs or something like that. And it introduced the Statesman, the American version of the Kingsman.
Channing Tatum from Kentucky or something.
That was a thing. That was a thing at the end. But it sets up more, and they did nothing with it.
There's supposed to be a third Kingsman movie and a second The Kingsman movie. And both of those are in development right now. They're supposed to do a trilogy capper with Taron Egerton and Colin Firth. And they're supposed to do a Kingsman sequel with World War II and the surprise cameo from the end of The Kingsman, which we won't spoil if you haven't seen it.
You're not ready for it. I'll tell you that much.
It's Iron Man. But yeah, Matthew Vaughn.
Yes.
He makes good movies.
Makes good movies?
He's made some good movies.
Yeah.
On to Argylle. Argylle is a new film starring Henry Cavill and Dula Peep. False. So, here's the thing. Jayla and I shot ourselves in the foot with Argylle because when we know we want to see a movie, as we did with Argylle, because we already knew we were Matthew Vaughn fans, we don't watch the trailer. So we've seen the first few seconds of the Argylle trailer with Henry Cavill and Dula Peep. And we thought, that looks stylish, that looks fun, that looks like a new, fun, awesome spy movie from Matthew Vaughn. What we didn't watch was the rest of the trailer where we see what the movie actually is. Today I went back and actually watched the full trailer for the first time. I thought we were misled. We misled ourselves. Most of the trailer is actually showing that the real stars of the movie are Bryce Dallas Howard and Sam Rockwell, but we didn't know that because we refused to watch the trailer. And so we were pretty disappointed when we find out at the beginning of the movie that Henry Cavill is just a book character.
He's a lie.
Which is revealed in the trailer, by the way. Apparently, everyone who watched the trailer already knew that, but we didn't.
You know what's really funny? I won't say the full spoiler here right now, but Discussing Film, their Twitter account spoiled the full twist of this movie like years ago.
Years ago?
Yeah, I have it saved on my phone. I'll just show you.
Okay. That's lame.
Yeah.
About to unfollow them.
I was thrown for a loop. And usually I like it when I'm thrown for a loop in a movie. But it's really hard to adjust when you're expecting a stylish spy movie. You get a fish out of water movie instead. There's an adjustment period for that. Also, I kind of thought, because I remember from the trailers, the little bits I saw, I remember, are you ready to meet the real Argylle? I kind of thought the cat's name was going to be Argylle, and everyone's going to be fighting over this cat for a reason.
Yeah, they put the cat in so much of the marketing. Yeah, it's like the movie couldn't commit to being a somewhat corny, tongue-in-cheek spy comedy as we thought it was going to be. The Henry Cavill stuff, that's what we were on board for. We were fine with this being kind of campy and overly stylized, fun, goofy shit, but the movie takes that and says, hey, that's corny. What if instead it was like, oh my god, what if my crazy book came to life? When really isn't any movie, oh my gosh, what if my crazy idea came to life? We don't go to movies for like pure realism, you know? Not that the Bryce Dallas Howard stuff is that, but it's just like, it's a level down from the Henry Cavill stuff. And they should have leveled up.
It's so weird because, like, this movie, there's a lot of sequences are fun, but also I feel like I can see what they're going for. I can tell what they're going for, but I think they held themselves back. I think they were scared to fully commit to what they were doing here at certain points.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, like why not just commit to the movie presented at the beginning of the trailer? Like Dula Peep is killed off in the first bit of the movie. Like I didn't even spoiler warning that because it's in the first 5 minutes.
Yeah, it was real quick.
I was ready for her to be like my new cinematic crush, you know? I was like, after this movie, I'm going to have a big crush on Dula Peep. And it turns out every scene she was in the trailer.
Yeah, she was gone real quick. Sorry, Dula Peep fans and you, Cam.
Yeah, I mean...
Real bummer. I know, bud.
What are you gonna do?
Sam Rockwell, though. What a standout. As far as the movie goes.
I don't know, he's not Cavill.
Yeah,
you know?
I know.
Even and when you put him in the same sweater and the same stupid haircut, there's not that flair that we were thinking we were going to have.
The thing is, Cavill did not have frosted tips. they gave Sam Rockwell frosted tips. And I don't know why. I don't know. That was a bit weird, I guess, putting them in the same outfits as the book.
I thought it got a little repetitive when they were flashing back and forth between Rockwell and Cavill.
I was going to say that. Oh, I'm so glad that's what you think.
Like, the effect after a few minutes, it's like, we get it. She's thinking about Argylle.
That's exactly what I was going to say. Like, because it shows her blinking in between two, and it's kind of like, after the first few times, after a little bit, I'm like, all right, okay, all right. Mm-hmm. Okay, can we just show the sequence, please?
Just show the action.
Oh, one note I will say, if you're going to have Bryan Cranston be a villain, and in your over-the-top spy movie, let him ham it up. Let him, really, revel in his villain role.
Yeah, I hate to see Cranston wasted.
He could have really just chewed the scenery if they gave him the chance to.
Because he's sort of the main villain, isn't he?
There's no sorta. He is.
Yeah, I didn't really feel that at all.
No. We're at the end of spoilers, dude.
Yeah, if you haven't seen it, it's not boring.
It's not boring.
It's not like I can't say that I recommend it on some level. It's just disappointing because of the expectations that we went in with, which I'll admit was our fault. But we don't watch trailers because they spoil so damn much. That trailer is nearly 3 minutes long, and I watched it today, and it showed way too much of the movie. It did.
It'd be a good watch at home, probably.
I think anything worth seeing is worth seeing in a theater. Just get a subscription. That's what we do. We see everything.
We see everything.
Full better us. But we'll jump into Spoiler Town.
This movie has so many twists.
Yes, everyone's talking about how this movie has too many plot twists, and so... Oh, by the way, I had to see this twice because Jayla couldn't make it the first time, and I was seeing it with my family, so I had to go with her to see it the second time. So, I think I enjoyed it more the second time because I had clearer expectations, but the first time I watched it, it was like, oh my god, this movie is kind of... Like, when is this going to be over? Because it seemed like the writing was just like, this happened, and then this happened, and then this happened, and then this happened. Like, they were just making it up as they went along.
It is a bit stretched out. There's a certain point, whenever it's revealed that she's Argylle. Argylle. And I remember when, she's fighting Sam Rockwell, and I was like, all right, whatever, fine. I guess this is what we're doing. I just had to let myself give in to the movie.
I have written in my notes here, which I brought into the movie theater, quote, whatever, fine, end quote, Jayla. Deadass, look.
Dude.
Because after the Argylle reveal, she literally said that. She went like this, just, whatever, fine. But I wrote down the plot twists to try and keep track of them, and I counted 7. And I probably missed some, but there's Cranston is Ellie's dad. There's the Argylle reveal. Plot twist, Mom didn't die after she got shot. She had a bulletproof vest. Then there's a plot twist of, oh, Ellie's gonna shoot Rockwell in cold blood. Oh, that's crazy. Then the next plot twist is, oh, he didn't die because of the vascular corridor
That a fan sent in.
And she says, I really want to meet the fan. And I remember thinking, oh, that's gonna come back later. And then it did. The next plot twist is, we're on a boat. And then the next plot twist is the vascular corridor again with Kira.
Because she's the one that sent in the idea.
Ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. This movie...
Why did they just not re-kidnap her? I'm like, listen, you were brainwashed. 5 years? 5 years.
This movie is jumping into Fast and Furious territory in its first movie.
I know.
It's like, this is like Fast and Furious 8, but this is the first one. Like, they just... Which I guess is fine. If you're gonna just get into it, then just get into it. I guess it's fine. Especially when we find out that this is already part of a larger established universe. The color in this movie is beautiful.
Yes.
The color grading, they do a lot of black and white scenes where something is still in color, and then they'll kind of tone down some colors. So a lot of the gold pops. Like when Bryce Dallas Howard is wearing the yellow dress, it really pops. Like those shots in the movie are actually gorgeous, and the backpack really pops.
I like the backpack design.
It looks really nice. There's the colorful, smoky dance scene, which wouldn't have been out of place in like a James Gunn movie.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. It was very Harley Quinn.
But it felt out of place in this movie. It feels like it happened out of nowhere. It feels like this sort of style to the movie was not established already in the movie.
Yeah, I remember this is cool, but this doesn't fit.
Yeah.
And I felt so confused because like this is a cool idea, but also what?
I think what the thing they were doing is that they were doing, oh, she doesn't remember the life that she used to live, and so she's got all these instincts within her because she's already been trained. Like she knows how to ice skate, she knows how to dance and all this stuff, even if she doesn't remember it explicitly. Sure, but like, I don't know. It just didn't feel like they had established that element to it, really. That tone.
Brings me to a point that I had was I feel like if this movie would have leaned into over the top like violence and action, it would have sold what they were going for way better. Mm-hmm. But it felt really neutered. It felt really like babied.
Yeah, like Cavill and Dula Peep doing the smoky dance scene would have felt a lot more earned. And then there's the ice skating scene and the oil immediately afterward. It's a cool scene, but to me, it sort of falls into the problem that a lot of the other action scenes in the movie, especially the Cavill car chase scene at the beginning, is that the action here just doesn't look authentic whatsoever. It just, you can see blatant CGI all throughout, and it doesn't feel like any of the stunts are really being performed, which is a shame because Matthew Vaughn does stunts. I mean, maybe not himself, but like he has real stunts and real authentic action in his other movies.
Right.
And it's just not really present here.
The way I would word it is that a lot of the action doesn't feel like it has weight to it. Mm-hmm. Because, I mean, like you said, the CGI is really obvious, so it doesn't feel like it has weight to it. It doesn't feel like when you see someone getting punched, they're getting punched. It just feels a bit uncanny.
Whereas in Kingsman, you can see what's happening.
Dude, in Kingsman, the scene in the church where he, like, yeets a guy into the podium and he just kind of, like, crushes into it.
Yeah.
That was insane. Where was that?
I know. Those are really fun action sequences in that movie. Just didn't really quite mesh here. Also, there was a waste of a PG-13 F-bomb.
Yeah, she says it.
She just kind of, yeah. We love when, I mean, X-Men First Class has one of the best PG-13 F-bombs we've ever seen.
Masterfully done.
We love a well-placed PG-13 fuck word, but...
She's like, oh, don't fuck with me. I'm like, okay. Wow.
Spice it up a little bit.
Come on. Yeah, it felt like it kind of had no direction, and then suddenly the end happened. They did a Winter Soldier out of nowhere. Whenever.
Oh, the code words, the sleeper agent thing.
Out of nowhere. Oh, we're doing Winter Soldier now. He was even. I'm not gonna fight you. Oh.
Yeah, it was the and then this happened, and then this happened.
What really made me mad about that? Whenever she broke, he looked at her. He looked at what's her tits, and she had the music box. And he just did nothing. Obviously, the music box is triggering her into, like, trying to kill him. And he just does nothing about it. Like, do something.
What's her tits?
Yeah.
I don't know if I've ever heard that phrase before.
Hopefully it's not misogynistic. There's the beat. There's multiple moments where, like, she, like, breaks from the spell because the music box stopped. And, like, she's like, cranking up the music box again. And he just does nothing. Sam Rockwell just does nothing.
Yeah, he needs to, like, kick the not mom in the face. Just slip away and, like, smash the thing.
Literally. Instead of, I'm not gonna fight you. Like, obviously, there's a way to end the situation that you're just not doing.
Punch her in the face. Either one of them, really. Just punch her in the face. So, the very ending. Argylle was Bryce Dallas Howard
Yes.
all along.
You're right.
But then Cavill's there, and Argylle was him all along. Like, what? It just literally doesn't make any sense.
And he has like a southern accent. He has like a mullet.
Statesman, maybe? Because then there's the mid-credit scene, which shows that Argylle is a member of Kingsman. He's British in that pub. So the thing is, the new movie is Argylle Book 1, the movie. So the next Argylle movie, which is probably actually going to be made, is ostensibly Book 1 of Argylle. So, like, the next movie will take place within the world of the Argylle movie. Like, the book that Ellie wrote is the movie we're going to see next. So it's a movie within a movie. Does that mean that the Kingsman universe is set within the Argylle universe as a fictional thing? Because the directorate or whatever is never called Kingsman or anything. Like, it seems like they're separate worlds, but then they're the same world. It's just baffling, really. It's just really confusing because Matthew Vaughn has confirmed that there are going to be 2 more Kingsman movies, as we said earlier, and there is going to be 2 more Argylle movies. There's going to be Book 1, the movie, and then there's going to be an Argylle sequel. So like a sequel to the movie that we watched, but before that we're getting the prequel, which is the book within the movie. And then that and Kingsman and another franchise are going to intersect in a big universe thing. My prediction for that is that it's going to be Kick-Ass.
That's what I was going to say.
Because these are things that Matthew Vaughn and Mark Miller have already established as being in the same universe. In the comics, Hit Girl and Kick-Ass join up with Kingsman at some point. So it's already established that those intersect, and I think they could do that. However, they have also just announced that Matthew Vaughn just wrapped up filming a secret action movie with Sam Rockwell and Chris Hemsworth. Matthew Vaughn and his stunt team wrote and directed and shot a movie completely in secret, and they've already finished filming it across like 11 weeks of shooting.
That's a lot.
It is a lot. Matthew Vaughn is like so busy.
Good for him.
And there's rumors of him maybe doing something in the DCU. And he's also saying that Deadpool 3 is going to save the MCU. Matthew Vaughn has like so much coming up. And between 2 Kingsman movies, 2 more Argylle movies, whatever this other franchise is, that's like 5 movies. This universe is going to unravel over years and years as long as he can get them funded. Because the way he works is he makes these movies independently. He raises the funds and makes the movie he wants to make. And then he takes them to Disney's 20th Century Studios or Universal, and they distribute the movie. So these movies, as far as I can tell, are not suffering from studio interference. These are Matthew Vaughn's movies.
One for you, one for me kind of thing. I'm going to let him cook. I trust him still. I still trust him.
Yeah, and it seems like he's got a lot of irons on the fire. I mean, I will still go and see every Matthew Vaughn movie. And like I said, I didn't hate Argylle. It was fun.
Yeah, it was.
It was funny. It had some kind of corny lines in it that you actually laughed at. So I
wasn't laughing at it. I was laughing because it made me think of Iron Man. I say let him cook. This was a lot. I described it walking out as I feel like Matthew Vaughn handed me this pile of stuff, and I don't know what to do with it yet. But I like pretty much all of his other stuff, so all right.
It was all right. So overall, is this movie going to save cinema?
No, not this one.
Not this one.
Won't save cinema, but at least it was an original story.
Yeah, it was a fun, original movie. It's got that, at least. Well, let's wrap it up.
Thank you so much, you guys. Make sure you like this video if you enjoyed it and want to see more. Hit subscribe and ring the bell so you know.
Turn on notifications.
Turn on notifications. We go live sometimes. We have new videos coming out all the time. You want to be in the loop for that. I'm at Cheese Stick Rat on Twitter. Cam is at
The Palmyra Party.
The Palmyra Party. And we're collectively at Last Scare on Twitter and TikTok. Check us out.
Yes. check out that Twitter. That's where we will give you all the updates.
All of them.
About whatever we're doing next.
Every single update. Every breath you take. I don't know, dude.
Thanks again. We'll be right back.